Hi, my name is Alan Lowe, and I'm director of the George W. Bush Presidential Library and Museum. When I interviewed for the job, I'm sitting in this little hallway in the White House, I'm gathering my thoughts, and I thought, wait a minute, I think that's the Oval, and right then he opened the door and I had to go in the Oval Office. I had no idea I was going to interview in the Oval Office. Went in and he immediately started joking around and talking about Kentucky, talking about growing up here, and he said, well, what do we do next? And one of the staffers there said, well, if you want to be director, you need to say yes. He said, let's do it. And so he said, now you're going to be working a lot with me. And then he pointed to Laura Bush. He said, but you'll like her better. So that's pretty I like them both, of course. There's never a boring day. We're founding this, we're just now starting this library. So from day one, I started working with the architect in New York to make sure they were meeting all the National Archives standards. Also, I've been very involved in the museum design. Every presidential library has a museum. I also deal a lot with archives, and the foundation of every presidential library is its archives. We have about 70 million pages of paper, about 80 terabytes of electronic information. So we have about 43,000 artifacts. They're primarily foreign and domestic gifts given to the president. And then we have about 4 million photographs. So I deal every day with access issues, with preservation issues. For us, it's a world that's challenging from a preservation perspective. How do you preserve, in our case, 200 million emails? Then how do you process it? We have to go through essentially and review line by line these documents to say what can be opened and what has to be closed because of national security or whatever. And then it's just the sheer volume. How will we ever get through 600 million pages of email? I'm not complaining because emails give you a great window into this administration. Relationships, how issues developed. If you want to really understand how our government works, how the White House works, if you want to understand how an issue developed or the background of a very important event like 9/11, you need to come to these presidential libraries and look in the archives. They are the raw material of history. If you really want to understand something, that's where you need to go. There's a significant part of it just about 9/11. We call it the Day of Fire. So it's part of the story we tell, and then immediately after that in the museum we'll talk about the 10 days immediately after 9/11, how the government responded to it, kind of culminating with him at the National Cathedral, the President of the National Cathedral, and then his visit to New York. We have to perform our jobs objectively as archivists working for the federal government. It doesn't mean that I don't respect the President, I do, and we work very well with his staff. And that's one thing this job has taught me, that you have to pull back a little bit from the immediacy of the moment and look at the record, let the record speak, and also realize these are human beings. They have the most difficult job on this planet. And I'm really proud to be part of kind of preserving how they do that and showing that to future generations. The things I learned getting my history degree, and also got a minor in political science, that specific information has been very useful in my job. It gave me a great historical foundation to build on. The UK also, I think, taught me to think critically. And, you know, it's just a great place to be. I thoroughly enjoyed my time, and I soaked in all the information I could and made a lot of great friends. It really changed my life. It gave me a great education, a great experience. I think it's a very, very excellent university, a wonderful reputation, and this has so much going for it. So I love the university, I love the community, I love Lexington. And my name is Alan Lowe. You'll look good in blue.